Hey, welcome back. Sam and Ron here from A Perfectly Imperfect Marriage. And today we have for you unresolved arguments that can lead to unforgiveness.
Fun topic, huh?
We're not jumping in serious at all here. But we know that is really something a lot of couples struggle with. And when you're stuck in that cycle, and we have been there,
Absolutely.
we know that you need a little help to usher you through.
So much like this topic, we cover a lot of different marriage topics, parenting topics, things that really revolve around the couple and all of those things that are associated with. So if you like this topic, if it resonates with you, like the video, subscribe to the channel. And with that being said, let's get going.
I almost wanted to do the dive in.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Definitely. We appreciate you all. And
on this crazy journey of marriage.
Oh, yes, it is. Perfectly imperfect.
Indeed.
We always like to drop us some comments, some questions, some feedback.
Some topics, some ideas, all of it.
So today, let's dive in. So why don't you open us up a little with our first topic, emotional drift.
Yeah, so...
Sounds romantic.
Doesn't it, though? It's the drift.
But it's not.
No, it's not. So when we experienced this, especially back in the partying days before we got sober, when arguments happen and they're not resolved, we build this wall here, and it gets taller, it gets thicker with every unresolved issue, and we drift apart. We heard a few years ago that no marriage is stagnant. You're either moving toward oneness or you're drifting apart from each other, but you have to be intentional the whole time. And having those hard conversations are difficult. That's why they're called hard conversations, But if the health of your marriage is a priority, if it's something that you truly value, then you need to be intentional about having those conversations to resolve whatever it was that you were discussing so that that drift doesn't happen. Resentment will absolutely destroy a marriage.
Yeah.
So you need to be totally intentional about figuring out a way to have those conversations. And that's something that we will dive deeper into, and we do dive deeper into in our coaching, but the tools to accomplish that. But you need to realize and see it when it's happening, that that should be a red flag.
Yeah, and when you were talking about the resentment and the wall, it made me think about you versus me instead of us versus the world.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about shoulder to shoulder.
Absolutely.
And that's how it should be. We should be shoulder to shoulder facing the world versus nose to nose facing each other.
We have these bracelets we wear. You can't see it, but it says stronger together. And it's because we are stronger together. Samantha is not my enemy. She is my teammate. She's my ally. She is my...
crazy wife.
Well, she is that. But, it's that whole ride or die, we are attacking the world together because the world is 100% attacking us. So we need to be all in this relationship. And that means no masks, no resentment, totally honest, humble, sacrificial, service-oriented, our pastor likes to say all the things.
Yes. And that does mean you have to have those hard conversations. And look, they never go away. We won't go into detail, but we just had a hard conversation this weekend, and they're not easy. They don't get per se easier.
No, but they're called hard conversations for a reason.
Yes. And this is where the trust comes in. If you're building your trust and security, then you can have those hard conversations and not think that you're being attacked or attacking your spouse.
Absolutely.
However, if it's the other side of that coin, eroding trust and security.
So when the emotional drift lasts for an extended period of time, it's going to diminish trust between the two of you. It's going to make emotional intimacy more and more difficult. You're not going to feel comfortable taking the mask off and having the conversation. You're going to have your guard up all the time. And when trust erodes in this, it affects so many other things. Like, it clearly affects communication, but it's going to affect, emotional intimacy, physical intimacy, spiritual intimacy. It's going to affect the mental health of each spouse. It very likely will increase anxiety. And as these things continue unresolved, they start to trickle into other parts of your life.
And really, it's taking away your own personal peace internally.
Yeah.
At the core of all of this, you now are all the things you listed. You're just not going to be happy, which is going to roll into friendships, work, children, everything surrounding you.
Yep.
It definitely becomes a ripple effect.
Yeah, absolutely. So being intentional about, again, having these conversations when arguments arise and you both storm off to your own corner, but then you never come back to finish the conversation after you guys have an opportunity to cool off. Unresolved issues are going to lead to that resentment, which are absolutely going to destroy you.
And that leads into, like, let's go past the mental destruction. It becomes physical from there. There is no doubt that your mental health is connected to your physical health. And your physical health is now going to also start to deteriorate. Again, the ripple effect.
Yeah, it very likely can. When you are in a state of resentment continuously, unforgiveness, you very likely may end up with some depression, some anxiety, and these, again, they're going to permeate into other parts of your life. Your kids are absolutely going to notice. Close friends and family are absolutely going to notice a shift in behavior, a shift in mood, your demeanor. People notice, So, and then if they notice and bring it to your attention, if you haven't noticed yet, because a lot of times these things, as we're working through them or walking them out, we don't even see it. It takes somebody else to point it out to us. And then it might take a minute to get to the root cause of the unresolved issue, which is, why it's so important to attack these things in the beginning. The longer that they permeate, the more difficult it is to tear down that wall.
But not impossible.
No, certainly not impossible.
Difficult, but not impossible. Nothing is impossible, no matter where you are in your relationship. I'm sorry, I just stole the mic from you for a moment there.
That's all good.
Because we both feel so very strongly. And let me take that back. It's not a feeling. We know from the path that we have walked and continue to walk that nothing is impossible. No relationship is too far gone that you can't come back together. And it might be a new look. It might not look like when you first started dating or you were first married and like you had those oogly moogly googly eyes with each other, but it's a whole nother level of intimacy.
It shouldn't look like it did in the beginning, the infatuation and the lovey-dovey. As we grow together and mature, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and
all the things
need to work through these issues. When you get to the other side of healing, the bond is stronger. The trust level has increased. The authenticity in communication has strengthened, and the bond absolutely increases. When you walk through the fire together, something changes in the relationship.
100%.
Yeah.
You hear that phrase like, you are the, and this is going to sound cheesy and corny, but as a woman, most women are going to relate, but like, you think of your spouse as like the air that you breathe, the other part of your heart. you really
no pressure.
but you really achieve that. And I'm sure, guys, you would word it in a different way. You would say best friends, the easiest person to talk to. Like, those are things you've said to me. So I'm pulling from your terminology.
Which is the goal. Not all relationships are there. You may feel like sharing with your spouse is difficult, or you need to be guarded because your words are going to be used as a weapon. That's unresolved issue that is now resentment, and that's part of this drift that we're talking about. If you see those things, they should be clear red flags that some difficult conversations need to happen. And quite often, you're going to need to reach out to somebody to help guide you through those conversations.
So we'd like to give you to walk away from this video, or if you're listening on Spotify, this podcast, we'd like to give you a couple steps that you can enact right away to turn this around. Yeah. Again, it won't be quick, but it's a start, and you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
So if you are in this season of just angry with each other, arguing and fighting with each other continually, you don't feel like you can have a conversation.
Boy, I don't miss those days.
No, not at all. You need, this step is where you can start. Take 10 to 15 minutes. You're in the middle of an argument, whatever the case may be, and one of you has to take the time out. You has to throw that, what is it in football? Yellow, red, white?
It's the yellow flag. Well, the yellow flag is penalty. There is no flag for timeout.
Okay. What's the timeout then? How do they call timeout?
They call timeout.
Okay, so let's just go old school. Just throw the hands up in the timeout symbol and say, let's just take 10 or 15 minutes. Right now, we're not going to resolve this. We're both angry. We're both upset. We're both heated. And that means that half of your brain has literally shut down. And that's the logic
At
side, FYI. Yeah. So take the couple minutes and just call it a timeout. And then, and this may sound corny, I like corny things, apparently. Then you come back to some truth talk. Just lay it out there. Be honest with each other. And go into this with, you're not there to shoot arrows at each other. But you need to come back to this. Maybe write it down. Maybe in your 10 or 15 minutes, write down how you're feeling, so you can articulate the words when you come back together and you're not stumbling over what you want to express to your spouse. And make it a, oh, wow, my brain just went blank for a moment. What do we say all the time? That this is a no judgment zone, that you're not judging each other. You're just being honest, and you want to get past this moment. The first one's going to be awkward and weird.
The first few.
Okay. Yeah, probably the first few.
Yeah. So a few things there, one, this is a process. So much like, learning a new skill at work, or, if you were an athlete, practice, these are new skills that are going to take some practice. But Samantha laid out a couple solid things to do. When you take your time out, two things absolutely have to happen. One, you need to give yourself enough time that your heart rate and your blood pressure come down before you come back to the conversation. But you absolutely have to come back to the conversation and resolve whatever the issue is.
Yeah.
And often, depending on you, writing things down might be easier than actually speaking them in the moment. So if you're a journaler, or if you tend to feel more comfortable writing your feelings out, take time to do that.
And just a little peek inside us. So I am the journaler. He is the bullet points. So you guys don't have to write out a whole love note. Make some bullet points to bring with you. Ladies, if you're a bullet point person too, just come back with some cohesive thoughts to help you through the conversation.
Yes. But again, have the conversation. Yes. It's going to do so much when you get to the other side of that. Resentment is a heavy weight to carry. And when there's a wall built up between you and your spouse, boy, it just sucks.
Yeah,
when you're stuck in this roommate syndrome, where you're like two ships passing in the night, and the only real conversations you have are what's for dinner and who's picking up the kids.
And what's for dinner is usually like, I don't know, what do you want? I would like to say what just popped into my brain, as you know how I always like to end with a challenge. And what just popped into my head, this is totally on the fly.
Could be scary. Let's find out.
Biblical. No, I'm going biblical all here, right. Because what better place to go for all the answers than God's word? Mm-hmm. I don't know the Bible verse, so you're going to have to look it up, but it is the one that don't let the sun go down on your anger.
Yeah, I think that's in Proverbs, but I'm not totally sure.
Can somebody tell us in the comments? Because I really am not sure off the top of my head.
No.
But I want you to look it up. I want you to either write it down or print it out, and I want you to either put it on your refrigerator or your mirror in your bathroom.
And let us know.
That's your challenge. Because if you're looking at that every day, both of you, it's going to plant that seed, and the roots are going to take hold, and you're going to naturally, like God's going to be like, come on. And then one other thing.
Do tell.
We talked about how this is not easy. It's not an overnight change. And we'd like to work with you. We offer 7 weeks coaching. Get a start. Do it now instead of waiting. We love, love, love meeting new couples who are willing to take on the challenge of changing, because that's hard. Nobody likes change. I like to say it's like the train's coming at you. You're doing one of two things. You're jumping on that train or you're getting run over by that train. I don't think you want to get run over. It wouldn't look pretty.
No. Transformation is so valuable. And so many of us, we get so accustomed to living in the rut that we can't even see a way out. I mean, when we were stuck in addiction before sobriety, life was not pleasant.
No, it was a mask, a Band-Aid.
So taking the steps forward to heal and grow, they're difficult, but boy, they are so worth it.
They are. And we wouldn't be where we are if we hadn't met a couple coaches on our journey when sobriety first started. First, we met Jesus. He was the first one to hook us.
Got us
like
over.
Arms, like where you hook arms. But then we found some people who came alongside us and helped us to start our growth. And God put it on our heart that marriages need to be saved. And we would love to help you.
Absolutely.
So with that said, like and subscribe.
And we'll see you next time.
All right, guys. Bye.